Okay, hopefully you guys should be able to hear me through Suchit's computer on Zoom. Yeah. Yeah, and then for the flash drive, I can get that to you next time, or we can do that over WebLogin. All right. Um, so that's like the main focus of what we do. So the other thing is when I said red teaming, right? That was a very sort of intentional choice of words. Because there's a lot of stuff you can do in the offensive security space, right? So pen testing, for example, is going to be like at high speed without really caring about stealth, finding a bunch of vulnerabilities in a system and writing up a nice, pretty document for executives and reporting that. That's a great skill set. However, what I'm really trying to do is to give you guys the same skills that we see in real world cyber attacks that are hitting actual organizations, right? It's informed by threat intelligence, by things I've seen, by things I've read about, like secondhand, as to what actual bad guys are doing to attack real organizations every single week. That's really what we're trying to do on the offensive side. Of course, we're going to have to start with the fundamentals, which is going to be a little more outdated and simplified, but it's not going to stay like that. We're going to quickly grow from, attacking insecure environments up towards the modern real deal by the end of the year. And hopefully by the end of the year, you guys will have a conceptual and practical understanding of not only what bad guys are doing and how they think at like a conceptual level, but how to actually do it yourselves. So, yeah, the one caveat is red teaming is hard. Like there are a lot of disciplines of security that are very difficult. Like in my opinion, I think cryptography is really hard. I think binary exploitation is really hard. But red teaming especially is hard because you need to basically master a bunch of different domains and know how to kind of cross-pollinate those to be able to pull off kind of complex attacks. Um, and the other thing I wanted to bring up on that note is that, as easy as it would be for all of us, you can't learn security by, listening to me yap up here. That'd be really easy, right? That would be like becoming a professional football player by watching the NFL. You need to do security to build proficiency. And we're doing everything we can to go give you guys that environment to start doing security, kind of like playing a musical instrument or anything else. You need to actually put in the practice over and over and over. But it should pay off quickly if you can find the time. So the other thing I wanted to go over is a little bit of responsible red teaming, right? So beyond just ethics, what I mean by that is a lot of training sources, if you go online, are going to show you basically, hey, go run this tool, go run this exploit. Don't really think about it. But if you're red teaming in a professional capacity, right, for somebody that's paying you a lot of money and trusting you on their real systems to go after them, you need to know what all of your tools are doing. You need to know what all of your exploits are doing. You know how that target software works. So you're not risking bringing down anything that their enterprise depends upon to go run. Um, right? So that's going to be one aspect of this is understanding the techniques. And, one common thing, for example, is you'll be replicating your target environment as you go through it, instead of just firing off exploits into a black hole. And the reason is that's going to help you understand what the stuff is doing. And that's really important. The other things we're going into a little bit of stealth and anonymity, because real threat actors take a lot of measures to conceal their identity. And I'll show you guys like a simple way of like what folks are doing and how to do that infrastructure setup. Um, I'm not going to go all the way into how to actually attack folks and not get traced because there's not really a legitimate use case for that. Um, but it's worthwhile to know, especially as a defender, because it's going to demand some like attention to detail, that you might not see in other training. So in terms of what the semester covers, right? The first 8 weeks are just going to cover the basics of attacking insecure targets. And what I mean by targets is it's going to be attacking targets over a network. Like how do you find what a computer is running, what a server is running, right? Map that out and kind of figure out what's going on in your target enterprise. And then we'll go into a little bit of web app stuff. So SIGPwny General already goes over the fundamentals of getting into web apps, and that's quite good. There's a couple other classes of vulnerabilities they don't cover, and we're going to be going over how to do those, and also how to go recon web apps quickly, so you can find vulnerabilities at pretty high speed in a way that's fairly automated. Um, After that, we're going to be getting into the OS fundamentals of how Linux and Windows work and how you can exploit that. Sometimes, like for privilege escalation, other times by doing quirks of the operating system and things that are going to come to kind of, perhaps hinder you when you're going out and actually doing things, right? And then finally, after that, we're going to be going into Active Directory. So how many folks here know what Active Directory is? Cool. Okay. So a fair number of folks, but generally Active Directory is like the piece of software that almost every enterprise uses to go like run their enterprise, to connect all the computers, to establish trust and normal working relationships among their networks. I believe it's over 95% of the Fortune 500 runs Active Directory. So if you understand how to compromise Active Directory, transitively, you're going to be able to do things against a very, very wide range of targets. So it's probably the best bang for buck skill set you can get in offensive security. So we're spending an entire month on just Active Directory and how to attack it. Because even in a fully patched, fully secure Active Directory system, right, there are still things you can do to go gain access and potentially very quickly compromise the entire domain. And these things have remained unpatched for a very long time. So it's very important to know those things. And then finally, once you guys have that skill set, we'll be going a little bit into how to run things like an actual threat actor. How do you build your own malware? How do you avoid triggering alarms? How do you set up covert infrastructure over the internet, right? So you're a little bit harder to trace and detect. Um, and we'll be kind of ending with that for the fall semester. So the other thing I was going to say for external training, again, Hack the Box and Try Hack Me are good quality and they're very affordable. If you're really serious about breaking into the red team space, you might want to consider OSCP. We have some folks who have done that already. It's a lot of money, it's a lot of time, but it's a worthwhile investment, especially if you're looking at a career doing this kind of thing. Okay. And lastly, this is Michael's disclaimer. We will be giving you guys a bunch of servers with a bunch of hacking tools under our IP address. Please do not go attack targets on the open internet from Henry's home router, all right? We have logging, we have access controls. We will know it's you. So please do not do that. Okay. So with that said, I wanted to keep the me talking section of this pretty short so I can go make sure everyone can get set up by the end of this meeting. So before we go through with that, does anyone have any questions on anything I said, on anything we're going to be doing? Anything like that? No? Okay, cool. So I think folks are already going around with the flash drives, and then who here is running a Mac or something with an ARM? Okay. Oh my goodness. All right. 1, 2. Okay. We'll have just enough boxes. So I will start trying to get folks. If you are running a Mac, so first thing is if you go on the Discord, make sure you join the Purple Team channel, and then in the Purple General, just put like, hey, I need a web login, right, for TinyOS. Just put that in general, and I will go get someone to provision you a set of credentials and just DM that to you so you can log in. So the actual, I'll go pull the password out of here and log into that, and I'll show you guys loosely what we're going to be working with here. So you have to go into, if you guys haven't gotten the Purple Team channel access yet, you have to go into bot commands. And I'll pull it up here in a second and do the roles add is what it's going to do. So I'm just going to grab one thing here and then I'll show you where that is.
There's a register I assume you've also learned some things. System. How do we get just
Okay. Yep, so it should be, I think, roles add if it's purple. Yeah, Purple Team. So this is how you join the Purple Team like role on Discord. Go ahead and do this if you haven't already. And then if you can go put in Purple General, just something that you need. Yeah, you need a web login. Okay, awesome.
Here's your obligatory reminder that there's a coffee pasta bot made by me. Feel free to try it out.
Yeah. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So I will pull this down. We'll start figuring out web logins.
Is there any way we can like Ronan version this from like
So it's kind of complicated if you're on ARM and not x86, which is why we offer the web login. You could do it for sure. We just didn't have time to go set up a pre-built image for everyone. So I would recommend the web login, but if you're comfortable doing setup, you could pull a ARM Kali Linux image and run that, and then we can I can help you tweak that over time if that's something you want to do. Right? Are you comfortable running like VMs for Linux?
I have used this on my business and coverage.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So the point of the web login is like for folks who don't have experience setting that up or running virtual machines. So if you're comfortable, I would recommend trying to figure out on your own. But if not, we can easily provision you a web login. But yeah, we don't have anything pre-built for ARM architecture, unfortunately. Yeah, I'll try. Yeah, no worries. Yes, sir. Yeah. All right. I was gonna say one quick like maintenance announcement, by the way. Yeah. So just one maintenance announcement. We can only run at most around 25 web boxes concurrently. So we'll give out credentials to everyone today. But like if you stop showing up in like a month or two, then we probably are going to roll that over just so folks aren't like, having about 2 frames per second. Everyone's online at once. Okay. So the other thing is the login. I'll go right up here with VM.
Wait. Of course, channels are.
Yes. Yeah, that was because you didn't have anything rights for it.
I wish for that down and everything.
I reconfigured everything in it that's like sensitive, but I can move that part.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I wiped everything before we started.
Wow. Channel, okay.
Yeah, no, that's not. No, there's nothing. Yeah.
Think I should have said this switch I just can go so here she was seeing this thing. She's still I feel yeah, I personally so just even what different ones.
And then I'll go.
It's range like no, it's not for this. It's the
Yeah, and this is loosely what the VM would look like.
custom accounts.
So this is at.
That's our VM. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the URL to go access it. Through it. Then Henry, could you go put a reaction on everyone you get a login? That way I can see who's still missing it.
All started.
Okay,
Yes.
thanks.
And something listed like not in accordance to master protectors and all that straight. Yeah. So it would be starts. Yeah, basically it's
Henry, it'll be okay if I make more clones right now, right? Because it's the diff.
Yeah, it's fine. I can make. I can make.
Oh, you can just do it as you go? Okay. I
Yeah.
just want to go make sure. Sweet.
Or other, where you are you like you many fuels stuff. Yo, Ronan,
What's up?
do you know if they need VMware or can we use like virtual box?
Anything I can run a VMDK file is fine.
Cool.
It's a virtual disk. Now we bundled the VMware installers with the USB, so you wouldn't have to go
Yeah,
make
but the thing
one
is,
company.
so
Oh.
I'm actually downloading it. So
The files on the USB is exFATs. I thought it would be usable.
next OS.
So that falls in the configure your own shit category, but I'll do my best to use it.
But yeah, I was trying VMware install and I saw this being weird, so I was like, can you just use virtual box?
So I have not gotten VMware to work on any Linux system reasonably well. I use QEMU with Root Manager. If you guys be able to do that, and then it's a 2-command way to convert the OVA file to QCOW2 that you can run via QEMU. Are you guys comfortable doing that?
I've done that before, but I don't even know the
Yeah, the issue is I can't necessarily DM you a 32 GB file, so
Right down.
drive to some point. But you can get QEMU inverted if you're that's why I run VMs for the collection. So
Cat.
Where's the dip? You have a problem, we're just like that. You gotta go on here. For installing virtual boxes, you can or the